Alright, hello and welcome back to Battle of Behemoth 3 Warband Reveals. We will very much be looking at a corn-based warband. Not the band, but Corn the god. I believe it's called Children of Corn, of the Corn, which is a movie and a book. But you can just see they're all also decked out in red. So we'll see if they follow that theme. Though I believe these two are not red. This is terrible. We're going to have to fix that for him. There you go, buddy. Maybe these guys don't believe in corn. Oh, the empty passives, they kill me. Anyway, this is added Umph's warband. So we have two cult players, maybe three. I don't know if Darkin's playing or not officially anymore. But we at least have added and Ramon, two PvP veterans coming out of England. I think the cult are very strong in this format. I think they're the favorites for destruction, if not overall, to be quite honest, just because of a lot of what they can do. If you want to talk about a warband that comes out and kills things quickly, it's the cult. And I think this kind of tournament favors that to a degree. But anyway, without further ado, we'll check out. We'll start with the basic Magister, Hemophiliac. The Magister, decked out in his red. 20 toughness, interesting to see. Good leadership, so the route test will be tough to make him fail. But it looks like a melee build. So he starts with Blood Sacrifice. After engaging in melee, it reduces the cost of his offensive spells by 1. Something you don't see taken advantage of a lot with the Magister, unfortunately, as much as you do with the Matriarch. But definitely something he's very good at. Zinch Warding, the unique spell or passive for the cult. It basically is a cheaper magic resistance. It only costs 4 skill points. Acrobatic, so he wanted to increase his physical stats. We're seeing a lot of these, which is quite interesting to me. Shield Specialist Mastery, and then Knowledge of Mordheim for movement. And he does have defensive stance, so he's a bit of a melee resist build, especially with Feint. And then he has really basic order, so he can only get 2 of them off. Intensity is free and guidance is free. Of course, Weapons of Destruction Mastery, one of the best skills in the game, magics in the game. Then he's got Vision of Torment, so this guy does want to get in melee, which means he can do this spell, which it either stuns you or reduces your melee and range resistance, along with parry and dodge by 30%, which is very significant, and it's only 3 OP. So it's a very good spell for him. Curse of Chaos, that debuffs you. It picks them randomly, but it reduces 3 of the primary attributes in the physical, mental, or martial. So this, or this by 4, and it is stackable. So it's a way to debuff your opponents. If you want to do a big one, would be maybe if you want dodge bypass, you can drop 20 dodge each time it hits agility. There's a lot of things it does. So, and there is also the Idol of Pestilence. I'm not sure if he has that though. Yeah, which kind of stacks with that, but I don't see it there. The only warband that can take Doom Weavers, which is another reason I think they're very powerful in this format. But then he just has basic chains. It can be dispelled or elixired off, so maybe not investing fully in this. Again, you only have so many spell points too. But this is very, very powerful. You get it off on the Impressive. It makes each attack cost 1 more offensive point. And then you can't use special attacks if you get to the Mastery one. So pretty powerful in this kind of format. That's another thing I think makes them very powerful, is this spell. There's a lot of things though, but there's a few of them right out the bat. And then, I think a lot of people might consider a ban on the Magister. Maybe not. But again, I don't want to overemphasize the bans. I think I'm making a big deal out of it. It's not going to be that common, but if you're going to pick one, it's probably him, so you have to have a Born Leader possessed. And it's something we don't see often, so I'm excited to see this fella, and he is so ugly. Before I forget, we'll look at these. He has Claw Feet, so more movement and charge and ambush. Climbing. Featureless Face in the mod gives you more HP, 420 Blaze 'em. And then he's got poison resistance of 100. And then he can do free perceptions, which gives you range resistance. And then the eye, giving him initiative and crit resistance. He's very fast. And the concussion, of course, another injury we're seeing. So we're seeing another player with injuries. So it reduces his max offensive points, but increases strategy points by 1. So this one does not have the stupidity test. There you go. We'll see what he does with that. We have Fear, which he starts with. Born Leader, of course. Which is interesting. I don't know if it unlocks anything crazy for the Possessed, but it does give him extra stats, right? And again, another one that will not easily fail a leadership test. He has Battle Tongue and Order. Since it's kind of like there's no SP thing, I'd expect to see this a lot on the Possessed. In my mind, I envisioned some guy running around the map shouting at everybody with like War Cry, Coordination, Order, just like bossing everyone around like this big orc war boss from Lord of the Rings or something. He's got Commander, so there you go. He's like immune to route tests, to be quite honest. It's 110%, which is more than enough. There you go. So if you wanted to route him, you have to kill Andy. And then Heroic Presence, that reduces Courage and Coordination and War Cry. But I only see War Cry, but I don't think this is very expensive to train. But interesting that you would take that and not take War Cry or Coordination Mastery. It's interesting investment in that. He is reduced by skill points because he is a Possessed. So he does have Mastery Ad Rush. I'm not sure what that's doing. My best guess would be a Lure. So you like attack, attack, attack because he's 2-armed, and then Lure. And that covers you in case you lose an OP. I'm not quite sure. I guess he could do 4 orders too if you get to 12. That's actually maybe where he's going. This will be a really easy unit to jaw strike though. I mean, 0 defense. So if you get on this guy and jaw strike him, he's just shut down, which is very risky. I don't think he'll use this guy too much. Warcry basic, as we said, with Heroic Presence. And then there's that Mastery attracting Lure. So he doesn't want you on you, or he can move up to an ally and say, Lure, go away. So that's some of the stuff he can do. Interesting. So there's your Possessed. We'll move now to the Chaos spawn. Interesting looking fella. He's got the Wordstone horns. So when he picks up Wordstone, he is now resistant. I'm just kidding. It doesn't fucking. So basically it's a way to stack melee resistance. So he has the horns that increase by 4%. Is that all it is? Okay, I guess it is. And it's 6. So if you have anticipation and that, does he? Yeah, so it builds melee resistance. 10% per hit. That really stacks up quickly. With a lot of HP, decent armor, you've got to watch out. And he's got Featureless Face for the perception, I guess maybe range resistance, and then he wants maybe the poison and a bit of, I guess, wounds. That adds up a lot on impressive. That's maybe like 40 base wounds, really, or wounds. And then he's got an axe for... It gives extra... Okay, this is the extra arm. So there's no like poison debuff on this. It allows him to bypass dodge, armor, and then have extra hit chance. So the arm ones, if you hit, it can strip armor on the left and I think reduce damage on the right. And he can't take injuries because it's a spawn. They just die. His Mastery Hardy is the Zinch warding. No Frenzy though, so that's about where he maxes out. Yeah, okay, he can take Spell Breaking. I don't know if he has one. What is that, 10 more or 15? Can never remember, but that's a decent amount with Spell Breaking. Anticipation for stacking melee resistance. I'm surprised he doesn't have 1,000 eyes with that either. I don't know. And then Chaotic Advantage. So this is going to be very common. I would expect Ramon to have this too, maybe. Enter a stance, gain 5 OP, which can be 2 extra attacks. I think he used some Alacrity runes. You can, no, I don't know. You can maybe get some back too for even a 3rd attack. He's got Mastery, Attracting Lure, the buffed Intimidate basically. It's much easier to make an opponent fail it, and it's kind of cheaper in a way. Armor Break, Mastery for really taking care of armor. Add Rush, and then Intensity and Swift Jump are free. So there he is. Yeah, I mean, that's good base damage. I didn't even see Daredevil or anything that armor breaks. So just relying on good steady damage, kind of like the Executioner builds. I think we saw Quist's Maiden, kind of similar build, the one melee resist one. Just trying to grind out victories, not easy to kill unit. Book Thief as well with his horror. Then we'll move on to maybe the Hero Possessed. This guy has 1 arm. I think that's so he can get 4 to 5 attacks out. And then this one does have the extra axe, which is the same as the Impressive. Bypasses dodge, does more damage, and bypasses armor absorption. Claw Feet for more movement, and then Featureless Fight. He seems to be a big fan of this. There's like no poison except Paranoia, and they're not even facing each other. He didn't know that, but there's no way I'm putting these 2 together. Extra HP, and well, really, I'm not putting added with Paranoia. I don't think Paranoia would care. He's got the Fear. He's got Hardy, big HP pool, Chaotic Advantage. So okay, that's a good reason to. You almost don't need Add Rush when you're taking something like this. Like, you do your 4 attacks, you have 1 left over, and then you take that, and then you have 6 OP for 3 more attacks. But you never know. I don't know. It's the same thing with this guy. It gets a little awkward, but this one's using Armor Break, so you know, the Add Rush makes the Chaotic Advantage math add up a little better. You got Zinch Warding again, and Veteran Mastery. Now this one only has basic lure. He has basic Blood Offering. I don't think it's for crit, it's more for the damage. Basic Add Rush. Combat Savvy, I believe that's to use on the spawn now that we've seen him. And then Intensity Basic. I guess we'll jump to him next. Blood Crow. Very powerful unit, the Doomweaver. Very, very powerful. Lots of fun ways to build him. This appears to be a melee resist tank. He has Acrobatic for 5 more physicals. That's a lot of toughness and agility. Whew. He is not meant to hit you, though. He has Avoid Mastery, 160. This is his anti-Daredevil unit, clearly. Very poor leadership, though. We've seen a lot of Intimidates, right? So I believe if you're in this, though, you cannot be intimidated. Cannot use Flee or Disengage. So this is like your counter to that in a weird way. It's generally always used to give HP, but you could put this in you and this guy won't be lured anyway. So important to note with this guy. Another reason it's quite interesting is this build. I mean, he is going to fail these, though, unless he does something about that. Knowledge of Mordheim for movement and Shield Specialist. Sidestep Basic, Defensive Stance Mastery. Let's get this up there. So you can go between depending on the opponent and the conditions. Intensity Basic, Swift Jump Basic, like free skills. These are all free skills guidance. And as we saw, Idol of Blood Mastery for healing up the Impressive, or maybe preventing him from being intimidated or lured himself. Idol of Change, like bread and butter, strips all the buffs on the map. Massive magic resistance. And he's had a lot of Zinch warding, so he has really good magic resistance. And then it helps with offensive spell casting. For him, it would be Spiteful Manifestation, which strips only 10% animal armor. It's not stackable. AoE spell. He doesn't have Burning Blood. So maybe helps the Magister a little too. But really it's about magic resistance, I would say. It increases the cost for devotion casters too. So if you catch them, but it also gives them the magic resistance. So it's like a give and a take with that, honestly. And then the basic Boon of Ruin they start with. Next we'll look at the Marauder, Carl the Clot. He's, again, that perception check. He has Mastery Hardy, 500 HP, Strider, Mighty Charge. We've seen this combo a few times. Big fucking hits. Veteran Basic, which is free slot. Knowledge of Mordheim Basic. It does look like he has clawed feet. We'll look at those. Attracting Lure Mastery, Blood Offering Mastery. For a crit. Well, it looks like damage again. Intensity and Swift Jump. So he wants to charge you, maybe lure you, charge you again kind of build. Crown of Bones, morale, stun, and armor absorption. So he has good armor, which is interesting. Like the Shield of Iron's not going to go great with the Charger build. Interesting mutation selections. The morale, he has huge morale. I've been noticing in the practice matches. And then stun resistance. And then he's got claw feet yet again and featureless face. These seem to be standard on his units. So there's Carl the Charger. Makes sense. It's a Marauder. We'll jump over to Globin Gary. The lad's got talent. Dark Soul. Hey. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. It's true. I don't know. Armor Proficient Mastery. Again, 500 HP. It's almost like the undead here. Oh, he starts with Crazed, by the way, if anyone doesn't know that. It's basically... I don't know. I went on and on about that skill for a while. I guess it's like extra morale in a roundabout way. As you can see, it's quite large. Armor Proficient. Lad's got talent to become a hero. Hardy Mastery. And Veteran Mastery to get big stats. He's got Attracting Lure Basic. Blood Offering Basic. Again, I think this is just for damage. He's got Touch of Palsy, which is always like Righteous Fury. It's usually just really good value in most cases. Just for the basic. I think in the tier ratings I had both as like God tier. They're just so easy to put on, and then like they can screw up a henchman right out the gate or other things you're trying to do. For like just not even thinking about it. It's just so easy. Basic Ad Rush and then Web of Steel. So he's a tanky but also spanky kind of guy. 17 strength, right? It's cool to see a lad's got talent Dark Soul. That'll be fun. Come on, man. You got to make them all corn. Fixing them for you. And then we have two mutants. I saved them for last because they could fucking be anything. I think a lot of people know this is my favorite. I don't want to say favorite hero because the Possessed probably is. But this is probably my second, I guess. I just love the cult. Like, so I'm like such a cult guy. I haven't played them in forever. I'm being nice to everybody. Maybe I did play them a few tournaments ago and just wrecked face. But this is my man here. He can do so much. Like this one appears to be look like he's crit. But like tank. Look at this. They could do so much stuff, man. It's crazy. He's got Shadow Lord's Touch, which helps him be an easy crit build. So he goes and picks up crit. We're at 42 already. But oddly, he doesn't have Blood Offering. So maybe it wasn't somewhere in the build. Because he took Quick Recovery for the Marshals. I guess for this 20 and 15. Deep Wounds. He wants his hits to really be painful. The crits. Which, it's hard to get that way with that. I can see with a Greatsword. There you go. Greatsword of Carnage. With Deep Wounds, that'll tickle. That will really tickle. Knowledge of Mordheim. Again with clawed feet now, so he's gotten back to 6 with those. So he can wear the heavy armor, so that's his survival. Hardy as well. And there's the Vital Strike. So really high crit chances. I mean, where do you put in Blood Offering? I don't know, right? You could maybe get rid of Deep Wounds for some Blood Offering. maybe basic fatality. I don't know, but then you lose that. I don't know. But clearly a crit build. Um, Using a sword instead of the mace arm, which can be a crit weapon too. Um, Free intensity, free. Maybe just literally didn't want anymore. Honestly, you could probably take. That's pretty pointless. Quick leap. I'll be honest. And he can't even train guidance. Wow, look at that. That is rough. I don't know how you. I guess he's critting like heroes and henchmen. That's rough. And then we got Hepatitis Harry. Oh, we didn't look at these. Claw feet, crown of bones, featureless face. So featureless face, claw foot on everybody. And then he took the armor, stun resistance, morale with crown of bones to be more tanky. Harry's got acrobatic. I think just like the acrobatic mastery. He's got 5 extra physical stat points. So 20 toughness. Looks like he was going for 500 HP. He's got the hardy mastery. Zinch warding. Again, with Idol of Change, he can get really good magic resistance or talismans, honestly. His warband looks really well set up to block magic. Knowledge of Mordheim for 8 meters movement with the feet. Insult basic. This is the first melee resist bypass thing we've kind of see beyond the one the Magister had. So you could be a little prone to melee resistance. Vision of Torment. Attracting Lure, that bypasses melee resistance just like that though, to be fair. Web of Steel, and then Baby Frenzy. So depending on the opponent, you pick whether or not to go into. So it's never a bad idea, in my opinion. And then again, featureless face, claw feet, and this time he has the axe arm. This is the one I was talking about. Reduces melee resistance for this one. Interesting. So he's kind of the anti-melee resist in a way with the insult and then that, if he gets the poison the stack. And then some armor bypass. We'll look at the literally one random brethren. Malaria Mickey. He's got the Lurker. He loves putting these guys into Overwatch. He's like obsessed with it. And it's powerful. You can get 28%, I guess, crit chance. And if you land that on an Overwatch, it's so deadly. You take it with Entrench, too. So you get 30%. So you're at 38. And they do land. And, it's brutal. But then your hit chance, you never know, right? Someone could percept and you've just wasted it. But this is pretty typical now with Brethren, honestly. Which I like. It's like an interesting strategy for the mod. It's cool to see that, actually. Like an overwatching unit. You can think of it in other strategy games, units like this that are annoying. He's got the Baby Acrobatic for max toughness, it looks like. 420 Blazem. Quick reload basic, of course. Knowledge of Mordheim for movement of 5. He's in heavy armor. I guess if you're entrenching, it doesn't matter. Hardy. So this is like max HP kind of for a henchman here. Yeah. Crippling Shot. He had palsy, so here's another way to take an OP away. Basic Meditation, because that's brutal. Basic Ad Rush for 6 OP, and then Intensity. So looks like he can move this guy into melee if he wants to tank your, like his job's done, move him onto the impressive to be annoying to get through. I like it. It works. We got Gangrene George. He's got Zinch warding. He's got Demon Eyes. He has 70% fucking magic resistance. They can be so. This is the best magic resistance henchman in the game now in the mod, because you can also put Amulet of Spell Breaking. He's at what, 85? 80? It's ridiculous. Armor Proficient. Knowledge of Mordheim. Resilience. Pretty tanky stuff. Basic stuff. Attracting Lure. Web of Steel. Add Rush. This is a pretty typical Dark Soul build. To just stand in there and tank. And be anti-magic. Congeal Colin. Zinch. Armor Proficient. Knowledge Mordheim. Resilient. Attracting Lure. Web of Steel. Add Rush. So the same thing. Right? Yeah, intensity is literally the same. Alright. This one's a little different, I think. Armor Proficient. Knowledge of Mordheim, Zinch, Hardy. Wait, is that what they I don't think the other ones had Hardy, right? They had Resilient. So he has Hardy, big HP on this one. Lure, add Rush. This one has Palsy now instead of Web of Steel. So relying on the HP to tank, I think is what we're going for here instead. And taking the Palsy instead for offense. Oh, and this one's what? Featureless Face. So that helps the wounds too. That's what we're seeing. I assume that one had Dark Eyes too. Demon Soul, Demon Soul. These look like... Okay, this one's double-headed. Fuck, let's go to the other one then. Oxy Ian. He has that big HP pool again. Featureless Face. This one has Veteran though. So he has more movement. No armor proficient. Zinch Warding, Hardy, Knowledge of Mordheim. He's got the Lure. This one has Blood Offering. So I guess more offensive. Palsy, Add Rush. So also, like I've described, it's cool to try different ones to see which one you actually like, right? And that's what he's doing here, which I encourage. This is nice to see variety here. This is a huge dodge guy. Wow, for Dark Souls, right? Look at how good they can get. The cult's just so fucking good. Plus 30 dodge and parry. Then you got Avoid, and then he has Knowledge of Tactics. And this is with a shield. He's got Knowledge of Mordheim, Zinch Warding, good magic resistance on top of it all. Like, only this guy can kind of pull this off. It's just crazy to me. That's Celerity. He could even go a little higher with a Talisman. Yeah, he's done. Magic immune, dodge, out the ass. You get this guy on a Daredevil build, you're just kind of fucked. So, Attracting Lure, Sidestep, and then there's the Jaw Strike. I think this is the only one with Jaw Strike on the team. So just take note of Diabetic Dan, Intensity, and Swift Jump. Right? I think that's literally the only Jaw Strike. So, I think it's a good build. I think Added's come a long way, man. I don't even know if he's going to watch this, but it's a well-rounded team. As someone that plays a lot of cult, does a lot of different things, you don't know what he's going to bring to the table. It has 0 magic. So if you're playing him, you really don't have to take magic resistance. So I think you switch to like helmets and constitution and stuff. Try to outlast his damage. There wasn't too much crit in it either. I think that's the one thing I would say is you can kind of hyper focus. He had the one crit guy, right? Was it Rakim? I mean, he can crit a bit, but he didn't even have Blood Offering, right? So I think you can kind of like focus in on your strategy to fight him, but you could be lured all over the place. Clearly, like everyone had lure. He has a lot of HP to grind through. So I think it's well-rounded. It's well-built. Feels like a Khorne warband. I don't even know what Attracting Lure is considered to fall under. I don't know if that's like the sexy lady ones. Who is she? Slanesh? Maybe that's what lure is. I don't know. But I guess Khorne would be Blood Offering everywhere. So you missed everyone, yeah. All right, so we'll see him out there on the main streets of Mordheim.